Join Marty Johnson, the holistic health practitioner and founder of Total Health Nutrition Center in Menominee Falls, Wisconsin, as he delivers these podcasts to enlighten you and give you hope that there are health solutions to conditions that seem difficult to resolve, or even better answers than a medical approach of prescribing a chemical drug, which most times is nothing more than a Band-Aid fix, rather than getting to the root cause of your problem. The mission of the Total Health podcast is to provide the education and support that will lead to transforming people's healths so they can live a much more efficient, productive, and happier life the way God intended it to be. Join him now for his latest podcast.
Hello, my name is Marty Johnson. I'm a naturopathic practitioner and owner of Total Health Nutrition Center. We have a location in Menominee Falls for the past 27 years, and we just recently opened a new Berlin clinic. Really, the reason that I got into, or my first interest or exposure to natural medicine or using nutrition to improve health was really in bodybuilding, where I used to was into bodybuilding. That was my main sport and main interest in my early 20s. Now I'm 52 years old, but at that point I started realizing that, well, if I'm going to be more successful in bodybuilding, I should be, paying more attention to the other auxiliary aspects of health other than just lifting weights. So I started researching and studying what could I do to improve my health and to improve my recovery time. Started using supplements, nutritional supplements, along with dietary changes, and actually got very interested in it enough to where I was starting to give advice to other people younger than myself or even older than myself in the gym, and became really interested enough where I decided that the path that I was going to take for a career was to open a health food store that was right next to the gym that I was working out in Menominee Falls. So I did that, and that was a process and of about 10 years where I was working in retail. And I was helping, a lot of people coming into the store, giving them advice based on their symptoms, on things that they might be able to use for nutrition, and finding that people were coming back and, quite happy, getting results just on me listening to their symptoms and being able to give them information. And I started thinking to myself, well, gee, man, if they're getting some results just by me doing that, how could it be, or how much better would it be if I could go back and learn more about the body and how to maybe delve deeper into what their root cause was of their health condition, and then be able to help them on a deeper level. So I did exactly that. I went to holistic medicine school and got a degree in holistic medicine. So I'm a naturopathic practitioner, and I started practicing, or actually when I got out of school, I realized that, wow, I've been studying nutrition for quite a few years, as I had a 10-year kind of head start before I went to school, just researching nutrition. And I knew a lot of information, but realized that, unless I have the right tools to assess the body and to, understand what the root cause of a condition is, you can have a lot of knowledge, but you really have to have the tools to figure out how to test a person and how to go deeper to figure out how that condition ever started. And so I went, after finishing my baseline classes, I went to Clearwater, Florida, and did some specialized studies in kinesiology and learned how to test in a manner that gave me information that is even hard to find out, through blood work, using different methods. So in doing all that, I really went on a journey to be able to help people on the deepest level possible. And really what truly drives me to do what I do, and what gave me even more passion to do what I do, was what I call my why story, as far as why I do what I do, Well, my why story actually came when I was going to Clearwater for doing clinical work and learning different tools on how to test people. I started getting extremely, extremely fatigued to the point where it was muscle fatigue. I'd get up out of bed and I feel like I couldn't function, not just from being tired, but actually even the body being tired from a muscular standpoint. Like I didn't have the strength to stand up and get through the day. And as you can imagine, fear started to enter into my mind and my heart because I'm like, how am I going to get through my day to even see clients? And how am I going to pursue my dreams of being able to help people live a better life when my health and life were starting to really crumble? And that became very scary on various levels. Number one is the business that I had began to establish and really, started to take hold after 10 years. I was thinking, man, I'm going to have to sell this business. And then I realized that, wow, that's not even my biggest concern. My biggest concern is that how am I going to provide for my family? I had a young daughter at that point and a beautiful wife, and wanted to obviously be able to play with my daughter and to provide them, the things that I felt they deserve. And fear started setting into wondering, how am I going to even do that? And you can imagine, when you get to that level, I started just feeling in despair, thinking that I wasted all this time and where's my life going? Because my health was just going down the tubes, and I felt like I was just really ready to check out. Finally, Professor Dr. Bryman, he was in his mid-70s, practicing, seeing a full client practice and teaching holistic medicine. He was teaching us very specialized ways of testing and understanding root causes. And he saw me one particular weekend. I was flying back and forth to Clearwater, Florida, literally every month for almost 2 years to learn different techniques, because I was passionate about being able to, acquire some mastery in some areas of testing. And Dr. Bryan said, man, you don't look good. I'm like, yeah, no kidding. I can barely make it here. And so he's like, well, let me do some testing that we're going to be teaching this weekend. And I don't believe that was by mistake. I believe that that was basically a divine purpose right there and then, where Dr. Bryman was going to be teaching what he needed to test me with. And what we discovered is that I had heavy metal or mercury toxicity affecting my heart. The heart is the strongest muscle in the body. So if that becomes weak, the rest of the body becomes extremely weak. And you really it's hard to focus and everything just doesn't function well. So I started to actually get hope rising up in my heart or in my mind, and when he told me this, because I'm like, okay, well, maybe there's a reason here. And at that point, I decided that I would do whatever it takes, whatever Dr. Bryman told me to do, I would do to get my life and my health back. And I did follow through on doing the things that it took to detoxify these heavy metals out of the tissues of the heart and out of my body. There's not a lot of easy ways to do that. Some of the times it was a difficult road. Some of the times I did some wrong things. But at the same time, I learned what not to do with clients and how to do it the right way. And through that, I started to get my health back and my life back and my hope back. And now, today, I'm able to work 12 hours a day, go home, still either play with my daughter, play tennis. She's older now. After this is quite a while ago. She's older, so I could play tennis with her, or do to-do lists that I want to get done in the yard, and also do bucket list things like jumping out of a plane or doing an all-day hike in the Grand Canyon, things of that nature. So I feel like I got a second lease on my life, and that gives me the passion to to want to help other people achieve that are struggling with their health. A lot of people come to me that have gone to a lot of other medical doctors and so forth, and really just haven't found what the root cause of their health issue is. And it gives me great joy to be able to look those people in the eye when they're almost in tears, wondering if there is any hope because they're just not finding answers, and to tell them that there are things that most likely everything hasn't been turned over as far as looked into. There is hope, and there is life beyond what you're struggling with now. And that's really my passion. That's what drives me to do what I do.
Thanks for joining us today on the Total Health Podcast. If you'd like more information about how Total Health can transform your health, check them out. They would love to set up a free consultation with you over the phone. Call them at 262-251-2929 to make that appointment. Otherwise, you can check them out on the web at www.totalhealthinc.com.